welcome to Maison Voyage Podcast, The Art of Luxury Travel. My name is Vanessa Kromer, and I'm a luxury travel advisor and the founder of the Maison Voyage brand, which includes the magazine and now the podcast. I've been doing this for over 16 years. My specialty is international travel, but my heart belongs to Italy, as most of you know if you follow me already. So welcome to episode 1 of Maison Voyage Podcast, The Art of Luxury Travel. Today, it's just going to be me, but after this, it's mostly always going to have luxury travel industry peers and guests. So this podcast is really for everyone. It's for anyone who loves to travel, who loves learning about destinations and different parts of the world and all the beautiful places that we can explore. It's also for people in the luxury travel industry. You can join us on the episodes to learn more about different guests that we will be hosting here, what they specialize in, what is trending, what luxury looks like to them, to their clients, or anyone that they're currently working with. And then, of course, it's going to have a lot of destination-specific guests. So today, I'm going to just kind of introduce you to the podcast. It's going to be very short, but I just wanted to kind of introduce everything and kind of give you a little bit of a taste of what is to come. So if you're not familiar with the Maison Voyage brand, we started out as a luxury quarterly digital and print magazine, and it is doing very well. And here's issue 1 that launched in the spring, and then issue 2 is coming July 1st. So by the time you watch this podcast, issue 2 will be in the mailboxes. And again, the magazine and the entire brand of Maison Voyage is, again, like I mentioned, it's for everyone. So it's for anyone who loves beautiful travel, but it's also for industry peers. And people that we have inside of the magazine are people and brands that are shaping the luxury travel industry. So it is going to be destination features, destination spotlights, really diving into those luxury, bespoke, and sometimes hidden gem destinations that everybody wants to learn more about. Beautiful photography, beautiful destinations, all in one, every magazine. All of my podcast guest subscribers will have a link in the notes to subscribe with a special promo. So definitely make sure you grab your magazine subscription. And then as we expanded, because the magazine was doing already so successful, we decided the next step was going to be to launch the podcast. And so basically we're going to be having kind of what's in the magazine, but we're having conversations now. So the whole concept of the podcast is having those conversations with the people and the brands that are shaping the future of luxury travel, whether it is a hotel manager or maybe the family of the owners of a beautiful luxury hotel in Italy. Maybe we're talking to another design specialist who focuses on France. Maybe we're talking to a beautiful CEO of a yacht company that travels around Italy that you can have a private yacht experience. So we're having the conversations with those people, the people that are boots on the ground. They're either planning or they live in this destination. So they eat, live, they breathe it. So those are really important conversations to have. And we really just want our viewers to just learn something new and be inspired by beautiful destinations. That is the goal, and having those conversations. And also, what does luxury travel mean? Because I know, obviously, I've been doing this a long time, and a lot of times my clients think, and rightfully so, that luxury travel means dollar signs. And that can, of course, be the case. Obviously, there's certain hotels that are $3,000 a night to even get in the door. Those are amazing, and you will have a luxury experience. It's without a doubt. But luxury, we want to kind of open your mind on what that really truly means when we say luxury travel. And that's really the meaning behind the magazine and the podcast. So the whole entire Maison Voyage brand is educating and having those conversations about what does luxury travel really look like and what does that mean. So we're super excited to really dive in. We're going to be doing 2 episodes a month. And we just cannot wait to introduce all of our guests. We have so many amazing guests lined up, ready to go. And by the time you watch this, I will have some personal experiences I'm actually going to talk about right now. But by the time you watch this, I will have experienced them. But today, just really quick, since this is just a solo podcast introductory episode, we are going to talk about the fact that I will be traveling back to Italy again in a few weeks as of today of this recording. And I will be visiting one of my favorite areas, which is Northern Italy, which I love to plan and I love to personally visit. And my husband and I are going to be doing Venice round trip with the Dolomites in between. And this is a very important conversation to have. And it's an important trip for me to take because it's not complicated. I don't want to say it's complicated because that scares people away, but it definitely is a trip that requires a little extra knowledge, some expert guidance for sure, logistically. Okay. And we're going in the summer, obviously. So if you're going in the winter, that's a whole different situation, right? So the Dolomite Mountains are the northern Italian Alps that are in the northern part of Italy. And they span kind of from, east to west. And so each region of the Dolomites is a little bit different. And then, of course, the seasons are going to be extremely different as well. So we are not talking about a ski vacation for this trip. This is going to be experiencing it in the summer or the mild season. And that is, probably nine times out of 10 what I book for my clients. It's very rare that I get a ski trip because I feel like a lot of the, even like the Swiss Alps, the French Alps, anything in Europe, like the skiing, usually those clients go yearly and they're very educated and vetted in skiing. So it's definitely a specific type of client that is going to go in the winter, but anyone can go in the summer. So that's why I'm super excited to take this trip. And like I said, by the time you're watching this episode, I will have been home. And so you'll see social media posts and all that good stuff. But I'll just kind of give you guys for this episode a little bit of a rundown of what we'll be experiencing. Venice as well is a little bit more logistically complicated than the rest of Italy as well, just because of the water transfers. So with luggage and if there's any mobility issues, Venice definitely can be a little bit more complicated. If it's hot, you're going to get a little stressed a little bit quicker, right? Anytime it's summer and it's, blazing hot and you have luggage and you're tired from traveling, you're trying to get from one boat to the next and then to your hotel or from the airport or the train station. So Venice is definitely one of those destinations in Italy that does require a little bit more TLC with someone holding your hands through that. Like myself, which I love Venice. And I know, there's mixed reviews about Venice if you Google it. But I say those are all wrong. And I will stand by it till the day I die that you do need to go to Venice and it is worthy of adding it into your trip 100%. So the good news about this trip is I have already been to Venice. So I'm pretty familiar with it and I book it daily. My husband has not been to Venice, so I'm super excited for him to kind of experience it because again, I do feel like it's one of those like mind blown destinations where you're like, wow, you really just have to see it to believe it. So I'm super excited for that. But something that's going to be really exciting about this trip is that I was invited to stay at the brand new Orient Express Venice Hotel, which literally just opened a few months ago. And it is completely luxury, gorgeous, ornate, all the things. When you picture Venice, it's all of that wrapped in a bow. So I'm super excited. I'm also very excited because I'm going to be also staying at the Venice Hotel, which we'll be staying at the end. So we're doing round trip Venice and then Dolomites in the middle. So we'll have like 2 or 3 days in Venice on the front end and the back end. On the way home, we will be staying at the Venice Hotel, who is amazing. I've actually met with them before and broke bread with them because that's what I do as a luxury travel advisor is I like to get to know and I spend time traveling and meeting with hotel managers, the family that own it, hearing the story, the concepts, all of that. So I've already done that with the Venice Hotel, and they invited me back. So I'm super excited to stay there on the way home. And I will be meeting with them and doing a site inspection and kind of getting to know it even better. For business and for pleasure. So it's always kind of good to be able to have both sides of that as a luxury travel advisor, where I physically am meeting with the staff. I'm going kind of behind the scenes, but I'm also experiencing it as a client so that I know they're going to take such good care of us. And again, I will already have returned by the time you guys watch this episode. But I'm letting you know that that's very important to do as a luxury travel advisor, because I get to really kind of peek behind the curtain. Not only that, I get to make elevated relationships with the people that will take care of you as a client when you show up. So for my clients, it's great because when I book my clients at these hotels that I'm making personal relationships with, I'm personally staying at, they're kind of in my back pocket. So it's like shooting that email over saying, hey, I have my guests, checking in a few weeks. Please take good care of them. How can we really spoil them? Is there anything we can do to really elevate their experience? And 9 times out of 10, we're going to do something that's really going to kind of blow your mind when you check in. So I'm really excited to meet with my partners at the Venice Hotel again. One thing I'm really super excited about doing is I have booked the best known water transfer supplier for myself. So there is one, and I'm going to have all of those links for you guys in the notes. And I can personally book those for you as well for my clients. But I'm excited because I'm trying a new transportation. Normally for my clients, it's white glove. So it's from A to Z. So everything's kind of all together from the minute you land. But for this trip, I'm trying out some new suppliers. Obviously, I'm meeting with hotel owners and all of that. So this isn't necessarily an A to Z white glove trip, if that makes sense, all bundled into one. I have specifically orchestrated every single step so that I can meet with new suppliers, test out new suppliers, all of that good stuff. So this looks a little bit different than what I would do for my clients. However, I am really excited to experience this private water taxi transfer to and from the airport, because they are the number one. They are the standard, the gold, the go-to. So I'm really kind of excited and nervous to try those airport transfers. So because I'll be honest, haven't flown in and out of Venice before. So that is another interesting thing. The way people travel in Italy, it really kind of depends on your trip logistics. So this is actually going to be the first time that I'm flying round trip in and out of Venice. So therefore, I will be able to try this new experience with the water taxi transfers to and from the airport with this brand who is supposed to be amazing. So knock on wood, we will find out. So again, I'm doing the things that I would have my clients do. I'm testing them. I'm making those relationships. And that's really what this podcast and the magazine is all about. Learning from the people who are doing this 24/7. And sometimes you're going to learn about destinations and different bespoke experiences that you may not hear about. Again, when you're watching TikTok, even Instagram Reels, when you see travel influencers, all these beautiful sites, 9 times out of 10, that is not reality. And a lot of times those influencers have nothing to do with the travel industry, zero. So you're seeing like a very beautiful fabricated glimpse into travel that may or may not be realistic on logistically, if that makes sense. So I know a lot of times as a luxury travel advisor, we get requests that on paper look great, or they've seen travel reels or they've seen TikToks and they're like, oh, they did it, so this is what I want to do. But actually, when you're going to plan and logistically create that trip, it could be a nightmare. So again, these are conversations about slow luxury travel, how to really do it right, how to really experience those destinations. So back to my Italy trip, Venice is going to be a really important key that I'm going to be able to bring back to my clients and to my viewers on social media. So definitely make sure you're staying tuned on my Instagram and following along, because you'll be able to go back and see all of those experiences. Because again, I will be home by the time you guys watch this episode. When we're in the Dolomites, that's going to be super important as well, because transfers are huge, obviously. Logistics are huge. It's not about grabbing a taxi in the Dolomites. So there's a lot of things that are going to be completely different. The trains only go so far to a certain city, and then you need to somehow transfer to your hotel. The trains don't go all the way up into the mountains, of course. So there's a lot of logistics that are going to be really important when we're looking at a trip to the Dolomites. I'm so excited. We cannot wait. I am definitely a city girl at heart. I love the museums, the churches, the culture, the food, the people. However, super excited to really do that quiet, slow luxury while we're in the Dolomites and really kind of take in nature. It's definitely a different type of trip than Rome per se, if we're talking about Italy. But I'm booking this more and more. So a Venice Dolomite combo is really, really trending right now. I'm really kind of pushing my clients there. You can also do a Milan Dolomites combination, and there's actually north of the Dolomites into, outside of Italy. So above Italy, Innsbruck and Munich. There's other ways that you can also kind of piggyback into the Dolomites. If you don't want to come in through Italy, you can come in north of the Dolomites as well through other European countries. I don't personally book that trek very often for my clients. Just know that it is possible. I would say Venice round trip is going to be the best, but Milan is also obviously a contender as well, and probably would be my choice number 2. But however, transfers are going to run from Venice to the Dolomites. Even that transfer, we're looking at 3 hours depending on traffic, and Milan could be 4 to 5. So again, we're still talking a lot of travel. So that's why I definitely, like in my example of what I will be doing, we are staying in Venice. We're not just getting to the airport and transferring to the Dolomites, because that would be a horrendous travel day for sure. And you will definitely get car sick and all the things after jet lag and traveling, overnight on an airplane and then another 4 hours in the car through the winding mountains. Not a good idea. So we definitely recommend staying on land for, a few days, whether it's Milan or Venice, in that destination and experiencing that locale. And then again on the way home. So again, you're not going to really transfer from the Dolomites and hit your flight that same day. So you're definitely going to want to transfer back, whether it's Milan or Venice, stay there for 1 or 2 nights minimum, get your bearings there, enjoy the city, and then fly after a few nights on land there. So that's how I kind of like to do that. But again, as we are airing these podcast episodes, we are going to really dive deep into luxury travel. The guests are going to be bringing so much value and so much passion to the episode. And I just can't wait for you guys to meet them. Right now, this is episode 1, but I can tell you we've already recorded a handful of the episodes that will launch, and they have been amazing. So I'm so very excited. The other thing that I want to remind you guys is, of course, in the notes of every episode, we will have tags, links, all of the things that you need pertaining to that episode. So if that episode resonates with you, we will have all of the hotels mentioned, any DMC partners, any travel websites, any social media that you are recommended to go follow, any freebies, all of that will always be in the show notes. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, the magazine, we do have a promo for our podcast guests. So definitely click on that link and make sure you're either getting digital and or the print version. We are so excited. It's been amazing. And then, of course, if you're watching this and you are in the luxury travel industry and you feel like you would be a great guest on the podcast, please reach out to me personally. And then, of course, as well, we're always taking partnership features for the magazine as well. So we would love to spotlight you. The magazines are very curated as far as what is kind of in each each magazine. So definitely get with me and we'll see where we can fit you. And it may be a couple issues out, or it may be the next issue that we're working on. But please, if you're watching this and you're interested, I would love to have you in the magazine. So reach out and I'll send you over all of the packages for that. So again, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to wrap with this own question that I have for myself that I will be asking every podcast guest. And that is, when I think about luxury travel, what does that experience really feel like for me? So if you've worked with me, if you're one of my travel clients, you know that I am all about the experience. It's not about the destination necessarily. It's really, truly about the experience that you have. That is luxury travel. And luxury travel can look different from one trip to the next. Maybe it's the simple things that just made everything so easy and feel good. It's the way you feel. It's the energy that you have while you're there. Of course, those luxury hotels are always great, but the true luxury is how you feel. And I know for me, when I travel to Europe, that's my heart is Europe, I feel things I don't feel when I'm in the Caribbean, for example. That's just personal for me. I really feel connected to Europe and especially to Italy. So for me, it's all about the feeling, and it's really the people, the culture, the conversations that you have with, your waiter, maybe your tour guide, all of those things really make you feel something that you just can't feel any other way. So luxury travel is definitely about the experience, 100%. And the memories that you make with the people that you love, that you're traveling with, and those conversations that you have on the way home, in the airplane, and weeks, months, even years later. Remember when, this happened when we were in Italy? Do you remember when this happened? When we were on that cruise, or that funny thing that happened? And it's just, the photos, the memories, it's all of it. Because at the end of the day, it's really all that we have. And you can't really take that away from someone. You cannot take that feeling away or that memory away. So that's definitely my answer. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining on the very first podcast episode of Maison Voyage. And if today's conversation has you dreaming about what we talked about today, which was Italy, Venice, Dolomites, definitely connect with me. I'll have all the links that I talked about mentioned in the notes, of course. And then make sure that you subscribe to the podcast. You're not going to want to miss any of these episodes, I promise. And make sure that you grab your subscription to the magazine as well. And again, thank you so much for listening. And until next time, keep being inspired by the places, the people, and the experiences that make luxury travel feel truly unforgettable. So until next time, we'll see you guys later. Thank you so much.